All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the sixth episode of DevMar Dots. And today we will be talking about how to create an engaging technical content. And here with us is Fortune Ikechi. Please introduce yourself.
Hello. Hi everyone. So my name is Fortune Ikechi. I'm a software engineer, a technical writer. Currently, I work as a docs and devel engineer at a place called Platformatic, where we facilitate the backend, make it like amazing automatically. Yeah, I have like a range of services, but you can check it out later. But I'm just proud to be here, thanks to my boss Sophia.
Well, it's lovely to have you with us today. Okay.
Yeah,
So, can you tell us a bit more about your journey? How did you come into tech?
yeah. So it's a very strange story, really. I mean, do you want like the long story or the short one?
The Oh, it's up to you.
Yeah, so very long story. I think there's this person, Prosper Ora, he works at Deimos at the moment. So Prosper, back in the day, we were so close, right? And then one day, I think I saw him writing PHP on a ThinkPad, a Lenovo ThinkPad in church. And then I was like, "What are you doing?" And then he was like, I'm doing this thing, it's called tech." And then he mentioned a couple of things. And he was like, "You can build Facebook." And way back then, I think everyone I know back then was on Facebook, right? Including me. So I wanted to know how the whole thing works. I didn't put a lot of money into it until like a year later, and then Scott Hansen got me a laptop, and then I'm like, this laptop tech. Yeah, but before that, I was already building a couple of small apps with my phone, my Android device back in the day. But yeah, these are like the short story of how I got into tech. I just wanted to build Facebook. Like that was my dream that day.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
have you faced any roadblock? What have been your favorite moments in tech?
Um, there's been like a lot of moments that actually made a lot of sense. I think the first one would be when I talked about my journey and career transitions at Oscar, right? But roadblocks, my laptop was spoiled twice when I started. Yeah, so yeah, my laptop was spoiled twice. And for the second one, I got a loan from a friend, and then I added my hostel fee with the amount I got from a friend. And that was how the second one literally came to be, right? And then I was quoted for like another friend for like a whole year back in school. And that was like a major roadblock because I mean, being homeless was not cool, honestly. Yes, but within that has been a couple of other roadblocks. Yeah, finding a job is hard. Even writing is actually very hard, like sometimes. But yeah, so these are like mini roadblocks that have happened over the course of my career that I consider big deals. Yeah,
And what have been your favorite moments? Because you only talked about the roadblock.
yeah. So where I currently work now, Platformatic, joining them was actually a really cool moment for me because I get to work with someone I really respect and whose software I use, and probably the two of us use every day. A lot of us use the software every day. Matteo Colina, and he is so good. Like he is really good. So there's like good folks who build software, and there's like really really good people. Getting my first laptop was an amazing moment. Like I just mentioned, replied the comments or a post on Twitter, and then this guy's in my DM and he's like, "Oh, Scott's in my DM. He's like, oh, let me help you do this." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Is this a joke?" And then between me walking down from my mass lectures down to the canteen, I just feel like this a lot, and I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Time for you to, you have to just pick up your laptop." And that was like, "Hey, this is happening." Like, yeah. Between now and then, other things have happened due to the impact of tech. I've seen people that I've had to talk to over the years or support or invest and do amazing things. And that's like cool moments. So every single year, there's always like this cool thing that happens, and I'm reminded of the fact that I'm just like a really young person from Aba who's doing relatively okay. Yeah. So again, there's always like this cool thing that happens every couple of months or a year.
Yeah. And I have to say, I'm one of the people that Fortune have been able to help in this journey. But he's so humble about that.
I don't know what she's talking about. I mean, yeah. So I made a promise to someone that I was gonna pay it forward, really, with my career and everything else. So I try to live by that mantra, right? Pay it forward as much as you can, right? It could just be in the smallest of things. It could be in the biggest of things. But as much as you can, for every single time you have an opportunity, right, to make your life better for someone else, to make it easier for someone out there, then just do it. So and you don't have to like talk about it often and on. I see a lot of people do that, but I mean, again, if only from the person who I made this promise to, he doesn't talk about his. So I try not to talk about these things or acknowledge them.
That's lovely and humbling. So let's get into the topic for today. So tell us, how did
Yeah.
you get started in technical writing? What motivated you? What inspired you?
I try as much as possible to like mention the full story whenever I have the chance. So back during COVID, that's 2020. So there's COVID and there's like after strike. Um, I was at home and that's like 4 a.m. I was struggling. I had reasonable skill set and I wanted an internship, right, to build those skill sets. I mean, I wouldn't follow the same approach now, but anyway, so I decided, okay, you know what, I'm gonna just like take my time to write about how ASU Strike and the search for an internship is going, right, on Medium. So I just picked up my computer and then I wrote this long essay on Medium. It's still there on Medium. And then I wrote that this long essay titled "Am I a Developer?" And one of the people that read that was someone from Smashing Magazine. The very simple thing, he read it and then he was like, "Oh, cool. You know what? Let's work on with you on this." And I wrote the first draft like 5 times. So the first article I ever wrote, a technical article I ever wrote, was had like 5 drafts.
Wow.
He canceled. He was like, I suppose I'm like, you know what? I'm done. It took a couple of months, I think 2 months. Then I had like a working draft that was accepted. The first day I got published and I saw the link, and then I looked at it. I'm like, and they're like, oh, just let me know if you have any thoughts, if there's any mistakes. I looked at it and I'm like, I'm out there. Like, and that was the first ever article I wrote. And after I did that, I then proceeded to apply for a lot more publications way back in the day. Um, Log Rockets, a lot of them really, right? I say you have to do a couple of ghost work for a couple of companies before transitioning to actual documentation. But that whole slide of like writing about your life and how it was crashing under you, the struggles of being a newbie in tech was what actually brought me to writing.
Wow, that's really interesting. Yes, from my
Yeah.
own Yeah, from my own experience, I think I started technical writing as just a way for me to share what I learned. That was 2021 or 2022 thereabout.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
had just created a Hashnote blog, and my friend Divine that he just said, "How about you write an article on what you learned this week?" And I
Ah, yeah.
and I can remember that it was very, very crappy. Like the words, the sentences, everything was crappy because I had not taken that technical writing course by Google. I was just
Yeah.
writing from my head, writing as if I'm taking a note in class. And I think that
Yeah.
was the first time I wrote. And some people reached out to me saying that they did like my articles and they
Hmm.
loved my writing style, and that sort of
Hmm.
motivated me to keep on writing.
Yeah, I mean, like I have a similar story before Smashing Magazine. I think I should probably talk about that. But before Smashing Magazine, I was writing on Medium, but it wasn't for a paid thing. Again, similar to you, I was just like trying to document what I was learning. Right, I wrote an article on React. First time I used Yop and Formic. Yeah, I had a couple of those, and I still have those on Medium. Yeah, but that's also back in 2020. I don't consider those my best work because that was just like, to me, that was just like a note to myself. I don't consider
Yeah.
them actual technical writing, so I don't really count it as a big experience. But I think if we're being realistic, those also played a part in, other things that became more prominent, right? Career-wise, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. So speaking on tools that you use as a technical writer, what are the daily tools you use, like on a day to day, and what are some tools that you would recommend?
Yeah, the first thing to recommend is there is something called Thunder Client. So you know how you can test APIs on Postman, right?
Yeah.
But for most people, Postman is actually very heavy, right? So like my computer have like a lot of Chrome tabs open and Windows. So Postman can take a while. They're like a couple of 5 seconds or like 3 seconds to open sometimes. At least before now. So I had this Thunder Client allows you to basically test your APIs, documenting them in fact while you're on your VS Code. And that's like so cool because yeah, you could just like test APIs, get your requests, documents, go back to like your VS Code using the source code approach, add the request and all that, document and keep going, right? In Markdown. That was like a big deal. There's also another one called Markdown Preview or Pilot, something like that. Or Markdown Preview Pilot. I'm currently using it right now, funny enough. Let me see. Yeah, Markdown Preview Enhance is also an extension on VS Code that allows you to basically view your Markdown while on VS Code. So you can, I don't know how people would document stuff, but we use like docs as code approach. Now, while you're writing your Markdowns and all that, you can just have like a side part on your VS Code that basically has like your documentation, but in a more visually appealing way, right? That we can make corrections before you push your code. That's also like another really cool stuff that I've used on a day to day, literally like every day. I'm using Markdown Preview right now, and I'll use it tomorrow and this night and midnight and all that. I use Google Docs for most articles these days, for different reasons. Honestly, before now I use Dropbox paper, and I still recommend Dropbox paper than Google Docs. But then for security reasons and other things, I'm using Google Docs at the moment, right? Because it's no longer just me writing. I have to work with other people, and then it's easier to just share it with people in the company and everywhere else. You already have a Gmail, right? Compared to
Yeah.
Dropbox, where it requires sometimes that you sign up and all those things. That can be messy. Um, yeah, on the day to day, I use VS Code.
Yeah. It seems we lost him there. All right. So, guys, sorry about that. Let's just give him a few moments to come back since his network is a bit slow. But these are some tools that he talked about: Thunder clients, the VS Code, Markdown preview enhanced, and Dropbox. All right, and he's
Yeah,
back.
yeah. So again, I'm not home. I'm in a neighboring state, really. So it's kind of a messy internet here. Anyway, back. I use VS Code on a day to day. Really awesome stuff. Recently for your icons or for simple designs, I use Canva. It just like works, and I'm not very good at design, so Canva just makes it easier. But yeah, these are like the software I would recommend, and I use on a day to day, and does make it really easy to do the work I do. Um, I use Google Keep. There's this keep.google.com. It's basically called Google Keep.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah, I know
yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah, I struggle to like, I like following that approach of, okay, I'm going to do like these 5 things today, right? So the Google Keep, I could just like write all of them down and then just like follow them serially and then get it done. Yeah, I think these are like the ones I use every single day, every single week. Everything else is kind of like one-off things every once in a while.
Yeah. So, you've made mention of some tools, but I have a question. Do you use any tool for editing or formatting your articles?
Yes, yes. So I figured a way. One second. Um, I figured out a way to. One second. To Yeah, so there is this thing called tidy markdown formatter, right? It's on VS Code too. That's also what I used to format my anything that's with markdowns. And I say markdowns because most of the documentation that I write are mostly markdowns, right? And I don't know if it's still there. Yeah, it's still there. It should still there. Yeah, so it just allows
Yes.
you to
Yeah. Okay, sorry for cutting you short.
That's okay.
So, you said you use Markdown. You said you use Amazing. So, yesterday evening, I was watching the GPT 4.0 Spring updates or the announcements. So, do you
Yeah.
think that AI can negatively impact technical writing, or it can
Hmm.
positively impact technical writing?
Yeah. The way I see this looks like when you ask mathematicians, do you think calculators and computers will do your work more? That's just how I see it. Like really. Personally, I don't think. I mean, the way I see AI tools are just like they enhance what you do, but at the end of the day, you still need like your core knowledge, right? It's same thing with Copilot. It messes up a lot, but then when it gets things right, it gets things right. It makes your work faster, and that's the same way that GPT and the rest of them actually do for technical writers. My reason for saying this is because no one can take your skill set away, right? And also, it's also easy and very important to go with the times. If you're still doing the things that GPT can do easily, then it just doesn't work in a way, right? As a technical writer. For example, GPT could make your markdowns better. You can just be like, oh, what do you think of this documentation? What do you think I should improve? Right? But then for the overall flow of the documentation proper, the engineering part of it all, I don't think GPT is probably going to help you with that efficiently or even effectively or correctly, in fact. So I don't think it's going to spoil technical writers or make them like jobless and all that. No. However, it can make the job a whole lot easier to manage, to make better, to also be faster. Generally, that's what I feel about AI tools.
Yeah, that's a nice point of view because I know that in my community, my GEDSC community, a lot of folks were already talking about how they were cooked, that AI is coming, AI is going to take their jobs, going to take this, going to take that. But
Yeah,
it's realized that
yeah.
we are
Yeah. There's gonna be some cooking, but all these other things, like just like when GPT came out, and people were like, "Oh, AI content, AI content." But now companies actually are looking for actual content writers, right? People who with SEO knowledge and all those things, because they realize that this might be all cool and calm, but it's not gonna really do it for us. Like you're not
yeah.
there where it completely phases out an entire line of people with certain skill sets. That's just the thing. So, I mean, even Devon, the parent company, still wants software engineers. So,
Mm. True, true, true.
yeah,
So, in a recent boot camp, you talked about audience analysis. So, I wanted
audience
us to,
analysis.
yeah, yeah, if you could, explain what audience analysis is and how that affects a technical article or a thought process while writing an article.
Yeah, I think I should release the slide for the boot camp because I think that kind of like settles this properly. But yeah, audience analysis basically does two things, right? So it allows you to know which audience you're writing for and how to basically position your content to capture that audience. Now, think of it as SEO, but for a specific audience. Now, the thing with audience analysis is that we do it every day, even though we do not know. That includes when you want to write, for example, a technical article, and then you write a prerequisite like, oh, you're gonna enjoy more of this article if you have existing knowledge on React, Node.js, or if you have this thing installed on your computer. That's actually like an audience analysis going on right there, right? So basically, it allows you to define, okay, these are the audience I want to write for. This is certain languages that they would like. This is where those audience are found, so I can publish and distribute my content there. This is how we're going to do this. This is why we're doing this, right? And then this is the personas, right? Meaning, what's your ideal person who's going to read this article like? And that is some of the things that happens on a not just marketing, but also on a technical level when you're creating content. So that is mostly all about audience analysis. You look at their sex, is it male or female? You look at their age. You look at their geography. For example, if you're in the US, you don't want to use Delve, you know, and yeah, that's supposed to be a joke. But so you look at things like that. You also try as much as possible to look at, okay, cool. If I'm in this stage, what do they do? What is their occupation? Like, for example, if you are talking about developers and then you could just say API, However, if you're talking to people who are not developers, you want to say the connection between your user interface and your server or something in that line of sentence, right? So these are like simple audience analysis going on at every single time with most content that we don't know about. I think that should answer your question if I'm correct.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it did. So I actually did, or rather, I finally understand what audience analysis is, and that's
Yeah.
really useful. So now, so we are talking about how to create an engaging technical content. This could mean
Mhm,
a blog, it could mean an article. So,
mhm.
how do you go about writing an engaging content? What are some things that you factor to make your content engaging to your target audience?
Yeah, I think I'm going to write something on this, write an article to help. Yeah, but answering your question, so there's like a lot of things you could do on this, right? If you even go to GPT and ask, how do I write the engaging article? There's a lot of things to do. However, I'm going to break it down for the technical audience. Again, audience analysis is happening. But yeah, break it down for the technical audience, right? So you want to do two things. You want to know who are you writing this article for, right? What to you is the goal of the article. For example, if you're writing pitches to certain publications, there's a part where you write the goal of that particular article. Now, the reasons is because at the end of the day, the user has to gain something from it. Either you're instructing a user or you're explaining complex things to a user or you're teaching a user, right? Or you're just answering a user's question. Now, those are all different types of articles. There's a how to guide, there's an FAQ to answer questions, there's a tutorial to just teach, and there's a guide to just, okay, a follow through documents, right? Now, based on the goal, you want to decide which part your article falls under. When you don't know which part it falls under, right, you want to personalize. If you already are very concerned in technology, you want to personalize that. Now, also, there's a part where first or second person pronouns or third person pronouns, all of those things matter. The part I also want to mention is again, your audience analysis, right? It narrows down your article to if you can get that done right, to the nearest point of view. Like, for example, if your article is meant for developers who are 9 feet tall and all, and you do excellent audience analysis and you publish your content, you could be able to grab the particular users you want. And for people that are into marketing content, that's also a different thing altogether, right? I mean, there are tools that help you do all of these, but these are like the ways I feel like be able to grasp creating engaging content, right? The idea of it is to make sure that the user actually is heavily into your article. Recently, also, there's a new strategy I learned from on a recent friend. Now, basically, another thing is when you jump into an article, go straight to the point. Like, oh, in this article, we're going to learn differences between full stack, back end, right? Difference between Golang and Node.js. And then we just jump into the article, you do an introduction, and just like, oh, hi, for Golang and backend, here are the differences, and they're like listed out. So that's like a straight to the point guide. You just answer the user's questions in the first section of your article without having to go in too deep. And the second stage, you can now begin to do any other thing you want to talk about. And that's also a different way of also creating like engaging content. Because the role of your article at the end of the day is to engage the user or the reader or the customer, either to make a decision or to just teach them things. And that's usually one of the other, like at the end of the day.
That's actually quite insightful because I came up with this podcast episode after writing a blog on just this topic, how to write engaging content. And from
Mm.
my experience, some things I mentioned in the article was knowing your audience, knowing who your target audience are,
Mhm.
um, breaking large text into small points so it will be easy for your reader or for your audience to easily digest the
Yeah.
information.
Yeah. Use of
Um,
visuals and images and
yes,
all that.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like at this stage, for most people, that's really like a thing that they can find out online. They're already doing it. The quality of like contents coming out these days is actually better. Especially for a lot of people. For example, the people at Hackmamba, they are writing excellent content. In fact, fun
Yeah.
fact, the new way I write articles now was inspired by the people at Hackmamba and how they handle articles too. Thanks to Chulo Williams Imo for this excellent person. So again, all of these matters, right? But then beyond all that, like how do you actually make sure your content sounds good? Beyond the images, beyond all of that. Yeah, that's where like you trying to personalize this, trying to like be in the mind of the reader, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you want to like solve a problem and get it done with ASAP, and that is it, right? Also, when you write create content, there's recently something I learned again. When you create content, at the end of your content, there should be a CTA, like a call to action. It could be either to sign up or something, but there should just be a call to action. It's important, right?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, so I did learn that from Idris. I can't remember
yeah,
when, but I know that it was sometime this year, early this year, that he was writing an article, and he said that he sort of noticed that article should have a CTA towards the end. So he made mention of that on a community that he's currently building, and I decided to buy into that idea, and that has been working out great for me because I believe
yeah,
that having a CTA like towards the end of your article can encourage the reader to further research more on that topic, or for them to
yeah.
really use the knowledge that they've gained from that article.
Yeah, I mean, yes, also, another thing you could also do recently is when you build an application on an article, and then at the end, you're like, oh, this can further be improved by doing this. You're basically telling the user, oh, you can actually do it better by actually adding these sections to this
Yeah,
application. And that's like something I do too. So these are all like small ways of like making sure your article is not just there, but it's like better, it's cleaner, it's also more
yeah,
engaging at the end of the day. Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Like that's spot on. So
Yeah.
now, as someone that has been writing for quite some time, what are some common mistakes that you see in new technical writers, and how do you think that they can avoid such mistakes?
Um, yeah, I recently did something kind of like stupid. So I recently had like an article I was writing, and it was taking so long, and I was like, wait, this is very tiring. Like it's very boring at this stage. So I decided to just keep pushing it and keep doing it. I was like so busy, and then I took it out of like a loyalty thing. And it came out so bad, as expected, obviously. Now this is something that we all do. There's gonna be at some point you're tired, you're burnt out. Writing content doesn't appeal to you as much, right? Or maybe it does appeal to you, but you want to do it in a more focused niche. For example, you also want to write like content for your company or for the blog or publication you're working for, but no longer your personal stuff. And then a lot of the time we try to like go trust through it and just like, let me just finish it. And it comes out like not so cool. And this happens a lot of the time, at least to a lot of people. I've asked friends and they're like, I'm burnt out. And when this happens, the ideal thing to do is always to scrap all of it. It sounds like a lot, but then never be like too afraid to like start from the beginning and then see what you actually went wrong and then where it happened, right? When you went wrong and then where it happened and what went wrong. Now, this is important because you make sure that as much as you can, you don't drop in quality of your content that you're writing for. And again, you owe it to the readers and the users and your customers to deliver quality content, to have excellent documentation, to make sure your content is not just solving a problem, but it solves it fast for them. They shouldn't have to read your article and they have to open another, like screen just to see the same solution. Your article just like solve it and tell them, okay, fine. If you want to understand where this happened, why don't you read this documentation? And that's
Yeah,
like how it should be. And so that's where the whole idea of like struggling to, struggling to basically go back to the drawing board and figure out how to make the article better. And then we just like brute force it, and all that is a mess a lot of the time. And so that's like something I think a lot more people should key into or try to like reason better. But yes, yeah, I
yeah,
just
and
feel like more people know this.
then and then another mistake that I notice a lot from new writers that ask me to review their drafters, they always try to make it seem like they know um big grammar. Like you are trying to explain. what HTML is. You are trying to explain it as simple as possible. That's what your article should do. But
Mm-hmm.
overemphasizing the word, you are using big grammar that is even confusing me that is editing it for you. And that's really, really crazy. I mean, avoid using big grammar. Your article should
Mm-hmm.
simplify things to bits.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's another mistake I keep seeing every
Eh,
single
eh,
time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people do that too. However, again, I think the most important thing to also point out for new writers is that your article should be able to solve, I think, four things. What your article is all about. Who is your article for? How do I do the same thing that, or how do I solve this problem using your article? Or how do I fix this using your article? Right? And the last part should be like, where do I like solve this problem? Right? Basically, you're writing on something, oh, this is how you do this, but like where and like when should this be the best approach to use? Now, once the article covers these four things, what, how, when, then all these three things, then it's already solved the problem, right? And that's like one thing that I think we miss. We sometimes do the this how to do this, but then and this is what this is. But then when does this approach come in? Because that's this doesn't or this isn't the only approach to do this thing you're talking about. So when is this the best approach to do this? And then when should I use this? And this is for a lot of technical content and tutorials that are coming out there. So I think if your
Yeah,
article solves all this, then you're already in a good place, in my opinion.
to be very honest, you are. So now, as a writer, or rather, or as a technical writer in a field that is, changing every day, it's evolving every day, how do you ensure that your articles are up to date, like articles that you published 2 3 months back or 6 months back, they are up to date? Do you write another one, or do you update the current one?
It depends on how big the update is, right? I've been in publications where they just give me people's article to update, and I just have to change the application, increase dependencies, and that's like a small change. There's also changes that are very mind blowing. They're like you have to scrap this entire thing and rewrite a new one. So I don't think there's a stoic way to update articles. Figure out where it's going wrong and then how you can do better, and then update it. Whether you scrap it and create a new one, or you decide that the best approach should be to just update certain sections of your article, it's still going to be an update at the end of the day. So again, I just say it depends, right? It shouldn't be a defined 6 months from now update your article. No. What if React scraps it or Next.js releases a new feature that cancels your old one? Also, that could also work. Like the old one could also be working. You could just be like, oh, this by the way, this article uses this technology, right? As a pre-warning or like it's a before thing, before the rest of the content just comes in.
So speaking on this updating of articles, let's say you are a technical writer for a company, like you are their only technical writer, and you write on using a feature in React that um, has been outdated. Yeah. Do you write another one and like references to that article, or and how often would do you think that you should update the content on that company's blog?
Right now, very funny thing. This is coming at a time where I'm in a very similar corner. Basically, it depends, right? So again, there's a plan for your documentation for all companies, right? The companies that want to update their old docs, get new ones, get their product out there. There's also companies that want to make sure that the old articles are updated, and that's like the focus for that content month. So, no second. So it all depends really. Depending on the plans you guys have for your overall documentation and content, you will then know what to do about it. Also, it doesn't help. It doesn't like hurt to ask questions by other to other like writers in the ecosystem. Saying, "Oh hi, I'm working at this place as a new person. What do you think I should do to make it better?" That's like another way to solve that. So again, it's really, really depends. Never be afraid to ask questions or just like demand. So, but I think knowing what the focus is for that content mode actually reduces the problem by half.
Mm. That's
Yeah,
nice.
because I've been in a situation where we had like enough content. We didn't have any other content ideas. There was no tutorials, and then when we spent like over 2 months back to back editing the old articles and content that we had. Like we had like a lot of people, probably like three, four people working on the same thing, literally editing it, like redoing this, updating it. That was all of it. So again, it
Hmm.
all depends. That's because we had the time back then, we had the resources to do all that. If a single person working in a startup and you're the only person editing the docs, updating it, it's a lot of work, but it can be done.
That's nice. So, okay, I think I'll have to divert a bit from
Yeah.
technical articles. Now, do you think that content diversification can help make the content engaging?
Content diversification can help make content engaging.
Like, uh, you write an article and you decide to create a video of that article. Do you think?
Mm, so honestly, it depends, but yes, yes, it can. I'm heavy on the idea that you need to find or like you need to like utilize a lot of a lot of like content distribution like outlets, right, for your content. So I mean, Dylan does a similar thing where he writes and then he also publishes a video on YouTube and he does a TikTok. Mostly the same topic, but different approaches. And now you
Yeah.
will now be forced to like read this, that. Like, and they all look interesting, right? And they're all like amazing. Yes. So you can check out his YouTube, by the way. Excellent place to learn new things. So yes, I think it does. I also think that if you're gonna do or follow that approach, you want to make sure that your content is engaging by either trying a different application or different use case for the different content distribution outlets. If you're doing YouTube or videos and all that. So this is like how I think would probably be a better way because I wouldn't like to see go to your YouTube and I'll see how to do the to do app, and I go to your article and see how to do it to do app, and then I go to maybe your TikTok and I see how to do it to do app. I'm like,
Okay,
yeah,
so it means that if I want to create different content, I need to
yeah,
ensure that in as much as it's the same idea, but it will not be the same thing word for word, right?
yeah,
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 that makes
yeah,
sense. That makes sense. All right. So let's come back to technical writing. Now, we made mention of the use of visuals like um, images, GIFs, etc. So, do you think that the use of this can really enhance or improve the an article?
yes, obviously, yeah. Images make a lot of difference, right, when it comes to content, right? I've been to articles where I'm like, I mean, images just help. Honestly, it's much easier to pull an article with images that replicate certain things. It's much easier to also know where you did wrong when you're following those commands or just going through the article or tutorial or the how to guide. Sorry. So images
Yeah.
play like a really, really big, you know, um, role when it comes to enhancing your article. Like, it just makes it better and more engaging. People love images. People love pictures in yellow.
Mm.
Yeah, like
So,
people will be able to like follow an article with pictures in yellow than the other article with pictures in blue, maybe. But yeah, so I did this thing where I just wanted to see like just a curious thing with, around amongst my friends, and people kept choosing the article that had like some yellow images, and I'm like, is it the yellow? Like, so it's just a joke that I do now. But yeah, yeah, images play a really, really large role. I mean, that's why we have CSS.
yeah, yeah, true, true.
Yeah, yeah. I know the button. I mean, imagine the websites now, like how complicated they are without, like, a bit of style. Uh,
Mm. But then
yeah.
I've come across some articles that have way too many images. Like I'm reading a short form article like 600 to 800 words, and I'm seeing 5 to 6 images. To me, that seems excessive or too much.
Yeah, I mean, something moderation in all things, right?
Yeah.
But yes, the idea is to make sure that you pass information or you communicate with the reader. And I say this with not just content or articles, but also when it comes to speaking to people, like the recent arguments on Twitter. Because like talking to people or doing something, the idea is to communicate. Now, if I say something and it is correct factually, but you do not understand it, but we speak the same language, you just don't understand it, we're not communicating, right? So if I create an article that there are images, there are odds, there's code blocks, but the reader struggles to follow through it or go through it. We're not communicating. That is not a good article, right? So your idea should be, how do I make sure that this image is good for the like readers? Is there a way to reduce this? Sometimes you also add like hint boxes around articles, and it's like so many hint boxes. Like how do I reduce these hint boxes? How do I use more text or use an image or try to explain this better? So there are like several ways that would actually come out bad. So it doesn't matter if you draw images and if it's too much, it's too much, it's just bad. So you want to make sure that you have the right amount of image for the right amount of content.
That's nice. That's nice. So I think for a content of 600 words to, in fact, for a content less than 1,000 words, I think 3 images should be enough.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah. I mean, who are we to say? But yeah,
Yeah, sure. Sure, 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 sure.
yes. But actually, yeah, 3 pages should be enough. But again, this depends on like how much is the moving parts, what is the article all about. All of those information should actually come in before making a decision on the number of images.
Yeah, I have to agree on that. I have to agree on that. So now, when you are done writing your content, what are some ways that you edit it? Because when I got started in technical writing, someone
Mhm,
once told me that when you write an article on Monday, let's say you
mhm,
write an article, you finish writing it by noon on Monday,
mhm.
leave it, come back to it after an hour to edit it, then you can leave it again, come back in the evening or tomorrow morning, at least edit one once or twice before you publish it. So what are some ways that you edit it, and how often do you edit your articles?
I mean, it sounds like a good advice, what the person said. But it depends on the culture. So I used to work for this manager who was more of a publish it and then we can fix it later. If it's bad, we just unpublish it and fix it and publish again. And that was the culture back then. So it doesn't matter if you post that, if you see like a typo, it doesn't matter. Push it out there, and then we'll fix it up later, right? And that was the culture. And I started working with this other manager who is like, "Oh, we're gonna take like the next 5 months to just make sure that this is okay and this is good to go." And that was the culture. And then we had someone else too who is like, "You know what? I trust you." And for this new person, the approach I'm using, of is more of a write the article, take some time, look at it, clean it up. If possible, send it to somebody else as a second eye, right? Before publishing it. Now, the somebody else could be Grammarly. Yeah. So, 5 months is a joke. So, but you get the 5 months is a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like it takes like a longer time to basically publish content because we had to iterate over it. There's like two, three people taking a look. All of those things just come in and make it delay the work a bit more. So now the approach I use is more of a write an article, finish it maybe today, today evening. Tomorrow, have a look while I'm between work, or just trying to just like cruise through something, have a look. The next day, have another look. That day evening, take another look, and in the evening, if there's no other issue, just put an OG image and publish. And that's the approach I follow now. Yeah.
That's that's actually nice. That's nice.
Uh,
So now,
Thank you.
how often in a week do you publish articles?
Do you mean documentation or just articles?
Articles, articles.
Uh, yeah, I think like once or twice. I don't. write as much as I used to anymore. I mean, for obvious reasons. But this is just like once or twice a week, every week.
Mm. But for a technical writer that is writing for a company, how many articles do you think they should publish in a week?
That is something for them to discuss on their contract or with the company.
I mean, yes,
Yeah,
yes, that is. But I believe that you
um,
you you have some experience, and
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, but that's like something I feel. I mean, if the company is saying publish eight, I know like some publications and content marketing outlet that will like publish five, and then you're saying, oh no, I can only do three. I mean, there's gonna be some problems coming out on that end. But really, I believe in like recently, I believe in actually like working really, really hard. So not recently. Or just like working hard, but also like taking a bit of like work-life balance. Recently, that's what I believe now. And although I'm feeling at this, I just feel like if you're gonna publish article, we want to make sure that it's as long as it's quality work every single time. It doesn't matter to me. Like whether you release 90 articles and they're all quality work, it's fine. God is good. However, where the problem comes is when you start burning out and then you still want to deliver the same range and the effort you were using to do before. That's where the problem begins to spiral, right?
yeah. So now, okay, what or what's wait, let me just try to get the question right in my head.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you said that as long as they publish quality article, that's fine. So, in your opinion, from your experience, what do you think makes an article a quality article? Like, what are some factors that's makes it a quality article?
I mean, the usual, does it pass information and does it pass it in a timely, efficient, effective manner? Or how much does it communicate to the actual user or the persona already set? The use of code blocks has the formatting. There's also the formatting, passing information. I think these are like the main places I would look at, right? The grammar part, the grammatical and typo errors, they actually come in really handy too. So these are like the main parts that I'll probably be checking out before anything else. Okay.
Hmm, that's nice. That's nice. Nice. So, okay. Uh, I have another question. So, from your experience, what are some key principles of effective technical writing?
Hmm. Hmm. That's actually a good question. So on this, right? You want to make sure that your article communicates with the user. Again, that falls back to what article is it? If you're trying to create a tutorial, does it just have the user's question? Did the user get it right? Also, your article should be able to fix whatever problem the user has without them going to a new link. That's the mantra, right? So, like, I'm creating this article on how to use maybe ENV with Performatic. I should be able to read it on my article without having to go to Performatic and attach ENV to see another article. That means it doesn't solve the problem. And you need to either like, take it out or update it and all that, right? The next thing to consider again as a measure of good faith is the grammar, right? Some people really hate bad grammar and bad formatting and typos and all that. And that's something that we've all done at some point. So we want to make sure that the article fixes all that before it goes into production, right? And that's just most of it, really.
That's nice. That's nice. I mean, good tip, good tip. So, we just have 1 hour and we are almost at the end of our hour. So now, do you have any last words or tips for new writers or for people that are thinking of exploring technical writing as a career path? And then,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, you can go on, please.
okay, I was about to say, for the audience, if you have any question, you can just ask. I mean, Fortune is here to share his wisdom.
Yeah. So, yes, actually. So, I think my friend told me this, Abdulaziz. Basically, while it is great to have like technical writing skill set and all that, I think also try to go into the marketing side, right? It could just be to basically just check the marketing side out, right? It could just be well, see what marketing feels like when it comes to writing perspective or content writing perspective. Now, I say this not because it's really needed, but you don't know where these things align. And there's also like times where a technical writer has to work in a marketing team, and you don't want to be like caught short or caught standing when that time happens, right? So again, that's like an advice I'll just give generally based on again my experience and things that happened to me. The next thing for you to build is the fact that sometimes it's also great to just like take a pause. I mean, we deliver content, you're like, why don't you just publish it? It's almost done. But a lot of the time, it wouldn't hurt just like take a deep breath, look at the article once or twice again before having to click the publish button. And this helps more efficiently a lot when you're working with teams. It helps you like prevent mistakes. It helps you, just it just helps you all around, right? And these are like the things I want to tell other writers.
Hmm, that's nice. So, speaking of technical writers exploring or learning more about the marketing aspect, were there some courses that you took or some articles that you read?
Yeah, you
Please.
can go to HubSpot, HOTSPOT. HubSpot, they have a lot of marketing stuff related there. Or is it HubSpot? Let me confirm 1 second.
Is it their
Yeah,
blog?
yeah, no, I think the academy or the blog, one of them. But you go there, they have a lot of articles and courses on technical stuff. And not just
Okay.
technical writing, but also content writing too. And content writing AI, and content strategy AI. Yeah, all of these things.
Yeah, I've seen that. So just HubSpot. Are there any other ones?
For those who want to go into documentation, you can check out I'd rather be writing. I'd rather be writing, which is this ex Amazon technical writer who wrote it. Really, really amazing. Logically okay. Yeah, so just let me know how it goes.
Yeah, Fortune. Sorry, I didn't get you.
So I said for those who want to go into API documentation or documentation, they can check out I'd rather be writing. Is an Amazon technical writer who wrote that. It's a book like PDF that you can just use to teach yourself technical writing. Really, really amazing. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, maybe you can just share the link for me. All right. So while you share the link, just a random question that pops into my head now. What do you think you would have done differently when you started writing?
Um, probably done more marketing.
Marketing in what aspects?
Yeah, like I mean, we write articles and we're like, oh, just for tech people, it doesn't matter. But you're actually selling something. Yeah, so I think being the marketing section of content or content writing would have been greater. Um, yeah, those are like one of the biggest things I think people should know, and I do not fancy that I messed up.
Oh, hmm, that's nice. That's nice. So
Yeah, just
were
like check it out and just have the knowledge.
yeah. So were you able to get the link for the
Yeah,
API?
I sent it to you on WhatsApp, I think.
Right. I am okay. I've seen that. Okay. So someone asked, don't know if it was asked already, but how do you move from actual documentation engineering from writing blogs for companies?
I mean, I have like engineering skills, so you need like a bit of engineering skills to do docs engineering. You also need to have like doc skills, you need to last documents, your technical writing skills, your API building skills.
Oh,
Then yeah, that's basically how you get started on that. So you build the doc site, you decide how the plan for the doc site go. Do you have any ideas of what the doc will be better? All of these things are really, really, really important, and that's how docs engineering goes.
that's nice. I think it was from you and Solomon Esteme that I was able to learn more about documentation engineering and how Git
Yeah,
works. And yeah. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Ghost does one of those things. Yeah. Also, docs engineering involves a lot of docs as code approach. You definitely have to use it. Yeah.
that's nice. So since we have no other question, um, Fortune, do you have any last words, or do you have any upcoming events or upcoming course or upcoming book that we should keep an eye out for?
No, but you should check out the Plasmatic docs. Let me know your feedback and just check out the company, the product. And we just created AI WAP, which is a gateway. By the way, check out the article I wrote about that. Yeah, so AI WAP is a gateway that allows you to basically connect multiple AI providers, Open API, Mistral, Llama 2, and Llama 3, I think, on a particular, just like one single endpoint or just one single gateway. Now, using that one single gateway, you can just be able to connect all of these people and then use it on your application. So instead of writing generators and controllers for all these different API, just like have all that already set up with AI WAP. You can check it out on Storyblock. So
All right. So
yeah,
that should be the end of this episode. Thank you once again for coming here and sharing your knowledge on technical writing. I
you're
personally have
welcome.
been able to learn a lot, especially on audience analysis.
You're welcome.
And I really hope that we get to collaborate again in the future.
Oh, I'd love that.
Definitely. And for the
Yeah.
audience, we have episode 7 on the 30th of May with Haman. I hope I don't mispronounce her name.
Amarasi.
Hamantika. Hamantika. No,
Uh,
developer advocate at Hashnode, where we'll be talking about the impact of AI and developer advocacy. So you can subscribe to the channel to get notified when we go live 30th of May. So thank you. And if you still have any more question on technical writing or how to write an engaging technical content, this is Fortune's Twitter. Fortune, can they reach you here?
yeah, sure, sure. I'd like that.
Yeah, so you can reach Fortune here on Twitter. So thanks everyone for joining us, and thank you, Fortune. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.